Hello everyone and thank you for joining. Let's continue with the expression of interest. In the last two videos, I covered some of the basics of expression of interest, and in this particular video, I will cover the details of it. We will go step by step on how to create your expression of interest. So first things first, for expression of interest, you need to come to the Alberta.labor site. It might happen that you land up in this particular page. If that happens, don't worry. This is not anything. This is just a queue that Alberta has created, I think, sometime last year, where if the volume to the website is too much, the traffic is too much, it kinds of queues people who are waiting. Like, for example, if you have seen me in my earlier videos, this queue goes pretty quickly, and soon we will be able to land in the login page. So we will just wait for the queue to finish. You can watch, I'll fast forward the section here and you can watch how the queues move. Okay, so now we are back in business. So you saw how much time it took for me to get in. This is not always the case. I just wanted to keep this demonstration so that if one of you faces this issue, you don't panic. This will happen from time to time. This is just a traffic management system by the Aaip. Let's look into it. So the first things first, you come to the Aaip labor.alberta.ca and click on sign in. When you want to sign in, there are two options. There is an option to sign in with your username and password if you already have one, or you create a new account. I'll show you how to create an account here. So very quickly we'll touch base how to create a alberta.ca account, and then we will look into it. So you click on alberta.ca account, and then it's very similar. So you click on alberta.ca account, and it's very similar to any account that we create online for various services. So it has an option of signing in with your Google and Microsoft, or if you have a different email like Hotmail or Yahoo or something and you want to log in with that, you use continue with email and password. I will not spend much time on this because this is very self-explanatory. We are not here for this. This is not our main activity. Once you have created your account, verified your account and everything, you go and sign in. So I'll quickly sign in and then we'll come back. So you click on sign in, and here you can sign in with your email and password. So I'll quickly do that and I'll come back. So now you have signed in and you come to the landing page of the Alberta labor site. Here you can create an expression of interest, check an existing expression of interest, and if you have any applications ongoing, you can check those applications. Right now we are doing a creation of expression of interest, so we will click on create expression of interest. Before creating an expression of interest, let me show you something very interesting. I'll probably should have covered this at the end of the video, but let me do this now. Let me show you how to cancel an expression of interest. So say for example, if we are able to create an expression of interest, fine, right? There is no problem with creation of expression of interest. You click here to the check existing worker of interest, and then you would see here all the pending expression of interest that you have. Open that expression of interest. I have created these many expression of interest basically to create a demo, but not everything is valid. So these are just some demo expression of interest that I created. You go to the very bottom and you click on cancel, and this will cancel your expression of interest. You might need to cancel the expression of interest if there is any modification you want to make to expression of interest. If you want to withdraw your expression of interest, there are a variety of reasons you may want to cancel your expression of interest. Okay, so with that done, let's quickly jump into the meat of this particular presentation, which is the expression of interest. Let's click on create expression of interest. This is a rather longer form. We will go through each section step by step, and you will see how easy it is to fill up this form. First things first, it talks about eligibility. Obviously, if you are watching this particular presentation, if you are here, you want to be sure that you are eligible for at least one of the streams of Alberta immigration program. That is very important. You could be applicable, you could be eligible for multiple Alberta Advantage immigration program, but at least you should be eligible for one. So make sure you have gone through your eligibility requirements and you are sure that you are eligible. Next, you have a declaration to do. So you just do that declaration. Next comes the contact information, the very basic information. Some information is pre-filled from your profile, and then some you would have to interest. So I am interested in a following pathway. I would say I am interested in tech pathway. Okay, just a pure demonstration purpose. There is nothing correct or wrong in this particular example that I am giving. You put a country of residence where you are currently residing. I am doing in Canada, so I select Canada. Immigration and IRCC status. So IRCC status is if you have a valid permit of issued by IRCC, you select yes. You select what type of work permit you have. Let's say, for example, I have PGWP, and what is my work permit expiration date. So say I'll put some date in future. Are you in Federal Express Entry Pool? If you are watching this presentation, you know what a Federal Express Entry Pool is. If not, a quick screenshot of that. I would suggest each one of you to be in the Express Entry Pool also, in addition to submitting expression of interest for Alberta or for that matter any province. So you are in the Express Entry Pool, a highly recommended thing, and you would enter the express entry profile number. This, once you create your profile number, you will have the profile number created. Express entry expiry date, depending on what time you have created, you have an expiry date. The score is available on your Express Entry profile. NOC is also available on your Express Entry profile. Whatever I have selected here is a pure demonstration, guys. So don't copy this. If you are following step by step, enter your score, enter your profile number, enter your expiry date, and enter your NOC. When you create your Express Entry profile, there is a profile number which is available out there, and then you would select that. Okay, so do that, and that completes the second section, which is related to IRCC. Third section, highest level of education completed. I don't need to explain much of this. You know what education you have done. You select your education. Say for example, I did my bachelor's. If I did my bachelor's, say in Alberta, I did my bachelor's in Alberta, master's in Alberta. So you would select where you completed your highest level of education. If for some reason you have not done it in Canada, just say blank. Okay. If you don't have your highest education in Canada, you would need a ECA. ECA is required for all people who have done their highest degree outside of Canada. So make sure you have your ECA completed. This ask, is your ECA completed, and if you have your ECA in your hand, only then start filling up the expression of interest. Don't start this expression of interest before you get your ECA, because you would not be sure how ECA will evaluate you. Even though you are not selecting, you're not submitting any document at this stage, but you are kind of declaring that at the time of filling up the expression of interest, you had ECA in your hand. Okay, so that's it. That was the thing I did. I did my master's here from India. Language proficiency. I am proficient only in English. I don't have a French proficiency test. This score you will get from your score result. There are multiple options here, so select what is applicable to you. Again, guys, I can't stress enough, this is not the correct information that I am filling up. This is only a demonstration. Work experience. You know how many total work experience you have, you put that. Total work experience would mean work experience globally, in Canada, outside Canada, everything. Since you started working legally, what is your work experience? 12 months or more, 6 to 11 months, less than 6 months. Not much option here. If you have, out of these total work experience, if you have any work experience in Canada, then the next two check boxes are for you. So say for example, I have 6 months experience in Alberta, I have 6 months experience in Ontario. So I would select both of them. If for you one of them is applicable, you would select one of them. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the difference between these two check boxes. NOC. Select the NOC depending on the work experience that you have. This is the NOC of your work experience, your past work experience or your current work experience. Select the NOC correctly. It's quite possible that your work experience might be in a slightly different NOC than the NOC you have selected here in your Express Entry profile, or you would select below. But as long as you are able to justify your transition between NOCs, it happens that with experience you transition into different NOCs. Have those transitions documented in terms of your experience letter, reference letters and everything, so that you can justify that you move from one NOC to another NOC depending on your experience. Age. This is one of the simplest question. Obviously you can enter anything, so select the correct age. Connection in Alberta. You can do the correct age. Connection in Alberta. If do you have a family in Alberta? This is supposed to be a very simple question. I see a lot of people getting confused in this. What do you mean by family in Alberta? A Canadian citizen or PR who is over 18 years of age and who is your parent, child or sibling. These three words are self-explanatory. Parent, child or sibling, but I see people still getting confused. People come back to me, hey, my uncle is in Alberta, can I get some points? Uncle is not your parent. Hey, I have a niece or nephew in Alberta, can I get a point? A niece or nephew is not your child. And similar extension, hey, I have a cousin in Alberta, can I get a point? Your cousin is not your sibling. So you would get only for these three relations who are over 18 years of age. Very strangely, somebody in my WhatsApp group asked me a question, hey, I have a 8-year-old child, can I get points for that child who is a Canadian born Canadian citizen? It says very clearly 18 years of age. So very simple question. People have overthought it and made it much complex than it needed to be. So your connection of Alberta is done. Job offer or employment contract. You have a job offer in Alberta or not? Say yes or no. I would say job offer is now more or less mandatory for all of the streams or any of the streams in Alberta immigration. So make sure you have your full-time employment letter available with you at the time of creation of expression of interest. So your job offer or your appointment letter should be ready. If you have a job offer, then there are certain additional questions they might ask you, that whether you have endorsement from a rural community, whether you work in a tourism and hospitality sector, and whether you have a job offer from a law enforcement occupation. If these are not applicable, uncheck this. If any one of these applicable, check those. Make sure that it relates to somewhat from the pathway that you have selected. So for example, if you say that, hey, I have a rural renewal community thing, then you would also select the rural community pathway here, right? So makes sense, I would say, like that's nothing to do with that. So let me do rural community for just for the sake of this demonstration, and then they would ask you which community you have the endorsement for. So select one of them. if there is a very unique case, I don't think all three would be applicable to you. You should be selecting one. However, forms allows you to check everything, but I think that this form is still very at a very nascent stage. They would enhance this form and make it much more um, what I say user friendly. Like right now it's kind of confusing because it's letting me check everything. But yeah, like you would know better that if you have a rural renewal stream, then you cannot apply for tourism and hospitality stream and things like that. So yeah, whatever it is, select your rural renewal stream. Or it could be possible that you have a offer from an employer who is also in tourism and hospitality and operating in a rural community. Quite possible. So I don't know. If that is the case, then select two of them. But I'm very sure not all three of them would be applicable, even though you can check all of them. NOC of the job offer. So this is the third place. You are selecting your NOC. NOC would mean your occupation that you are working on, and select the NOC that is there on your job offer. So your job offer will have your duties. Select the NOC which relates to those jobs and duties. Next question is NAICS. NAICS is a classification for all North American employers. All North American companies will fall under one of the NOCs. Talk to your employer, do a Google search, and find out a NOC which best describes your employer's main business activities. There could be scenario where your employer might work or operate in multiple businesses, so thereby attracting multiple NAICS, but you should select one that is most applicable to your case or best applicable to your case. Select the NAICS. Usually the best source is the employer itself, your HR, or if not, just do a generic Google search and try and find your NAICS. Job offer location. Select your location. This would be there on your offer letter. So say for example, I said I have my offer letter from a rural community because I have selected my preference as rural community, a rural renewal stream. Okay, so I am done with my job offer location. Alignment with regulatory requirements. If you are in an occupation which is regulated in any form, so you would select this particular checkbox only if you meet the regulation requirements. So if you also meet the regulatory requirements which is applicable to your occupation, you would select this. Once this is done, you would sign your declaration, you would sign your personal information, and you would sign your representative. Has anybody provided you immigration? If you are using it, say yes. If you are not using, say no, and then your final signature. Once everything is done, click on submit, and this will check whether the form is correct or not, and then will give you a score based on the information that you have entered. So now your expression of interest is finally submitted. You would come down and see your expression of interest number and your final score. If you are interested, click open this particular link, open up your expression of interest. You would see that you cannot change any of the information, and that is the reason I showed in the starting of your video that how to cancel an expression of interest. So you would go here and then you would see the breakup of the points that you have got. So out of total 84, you got 53 for human capital, 31 for economic capital, and the breakup of human capital and economic factors are here. So you would see what points you are getting for which factor, right? Pretty transparent, pretty easy to follow. One last thing that I want to stress here, and obviously you would know this already. You can select a interested pathway, but the pathway that Alberta would invite you totally depends on Alberta. So AIP has the sole discretion. So there is a no guarantee that you will be invited to apply in your pathway of interest. So for example, you applied for rural renewal stream. Alberta can very well invite you to apply under AOS. So then you should make sure that you meet all the requirements of AOS before making the actual application. Okay, so that is very important for all of us to know. Okay, so yeah, so this is what I wanted to show you guys, that how the Alberta expression of interest works. I hope you will be able to follow this along, fill up an expression of interest. It took how much? Like, this video is not even 30 minutes long. I did a lot of talking. I went very slow, and then even then we were able to complete this within less than 30 minutes. Right now, for this particular step, no documentation is required, no fees is required. You just fill up this application form and you enter the pool. So a pool of thousands of candidates who are waiting for an invitation to apply for Alberta PNP, and this is your number going forward. Okay, so I hope this particular presentation helped you in some way, and if you have any questions, reach out by all means, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.